Everything you see around you was created twice, first in someone's mind, and then in physical reality. The phone in your pocket, the chair you're sitting on, the organization you work for, or were possessed mentally before they were possessed physically. Yet, when it comes to your own destiny, you've got it backward. You're waiting to see it, before you believe it, waiting to have it, before you act like it's yours. And that's precisely why you don't have it yet. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you believe is already yours. Your waiting isn't faith, it's the very thing blocking your manifestation. The moment you walked into this room, something changed in the atmosphere. You felt it, didn't you? That slight shift in energy. That's because you brought something with you that wasn't here before. You brought your potential, you brought your purpose, you brought your destiny. But let me ask you a question that might just change everything for you today. What are you waiting for? Many of us live our entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to validate us, waiting for the stars to align just right before we make our move. And in all that waiting, life passes us by. The truth that will set you free today is profound yet simple. What you're waiting for is already waiting for you. You see, most people have it backward. They believe they must first have something before they can do something, and only then can they be something. But the kingdom principle operates in reverse. You must first be something, then you will do something, and finally you will have something. Let me tell you about a principle that has transformed countless lives around the world. It's the principle of possession before possession, acting as if it's already yours. When I speak of acting as if, I'm not talking about pretending or faking. I'm talking about stepping into the reality of what is already yours in the spiritual realm, but has not yet manifested in the physical realm. I'm talking about living from the end, not toward it. Think about this. Every great invention, every magnificent building, every revolutionary movement began as an invisible reality in someone's mind. Before it ever became visible to the eyes, the Wright brothers acted as if humans could fly. Long before they built their first successful airplane, they possessed flight in their minds before they possessed it in reality. The principle is this: what you possess in your spirit will eventually manifest in your reality. But here's where most people miss it. They want to see it before they believe it. They say, when I see the money in my account, then I'll act wealthy. When I see the business thriving, then I'll act like a CEO. When I see my health restored, then I'll act healed. But that's not how the kingdom operates. In the kingdom, you believe it before you see it. You act healed before the healing manifests. You act prosperous before the prosperity shows up. You act as if it's already yours. Why? Because in the mind of the Creator, it is already yours. Your job is not to beg for what's already been given to you. Your job is to align your thinking, your speaking, and your acting with what has already been established for you. Let me ask you something. Why do you think athletes visualize winning the race before they run it? Why do successful business leaders act as if their vision is already accomplished even when they're just starting out? Because they understand this principle. Mental possession precedes physical possession. Your mind is the battleground. What you allow to dominate your mind will eventually dominate your life. If you constantly think thoughts of lack, limitation, and failure, guess what you'll manifest? But if you discipline your mind to think thoughts of abundance, possibility, and success, that's what will show up in your life. I want you to do something right now. Close your eyes. I want you to see yourself already in possession of what you're believing for. That promotion. See yourself already sitting in that office, that healed relationship. See yourself already walking in reconciliation, that financial breakthrough. See yourself already managing that abundance with wisdom. Now, how does that person walk? How does that person talk? What decisions does that person make? What environments does that person frequent? What books does that person read? What thoughts does that person think? Open your eyes. That person is you, not a future version of you. You write. Now the only difference between you and that vision is your willingness to act as if it's already yours. Some of you are waiting to feel confident before you step out, but confidence doesn't come before the act. It comes as a result of acting. You don't feel your way into acting, you act your way into feeling. This isn't positive thinking, this is alignment thinking. You're simply Aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with what is already established for you in the spiritual realm. Let me tell you about a young woman who understood this principle. She came from nothing. Her community told her she would be nothing, but inside her was a dream, a vision of becoming a leader who would transform her nation's education system. She had no connections, no money, no platform, but every morning she would dress as if she were going to address Parliament. She would speak to her empty room as if it were filled with policy makers. She would write policies as if she had the authority to implement them. People called her crazy, they mocked her, but she understood something they didn't. What you consistently act out, you eventually bring about 5 years later, through a series of what some would call coincidences, but what I call divine alignments. She found herself appointed to a position where she could influence national education policy. The very words she had spoken to her empty room, she now spoke in Parliament. The very policy she had written in obscurity, she now helped implement for an entire nation. What happened? She had possessed it in her spirit before she possessed it in reality. She acted as if it was already hers now. There's a dangerous counterfeit to this principle. Some people act as if from a place of ego, pretense, or manipulation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about acting from a place of faith and spiritual alignment. The difference is your motive. Are you acting as if to impress others, or are you acting as if because you're aligning with what you know to be true in the spiritual realm? Are you acting out of insecurity, trying to be something you're not? Or are you acting out of security, manifesting who you truly are? Here's the test. Can you act as if when no one is watching? Can you maintain that posture of possession when you're all alone? If yes, then you're operating from authentic faith. If not, you might be operating from ego. Some of you are thinking, but this sounds like I'm being inauthentic. Let me challenge that thinking. What's more authentic? Acting according to your temporary circumstances, or acting according to your eternal identity? What's more real, what you're experiencing right now, or what has been established for you in eternity? True authenticity isn't about being true to your feelings or circumstances. It's about being true to your created purpose and divine destiny. You were not created to be at the mercy of your circumstances. You were created to transform your circumstances through the power of your faith-filled beliefs or words and actions. So I challenge you today, start acting as if it's already yours. Talk like it's yours. Talk like it's yours. Think like it's yours. Make decisions as if it's already yours. Don't wait for the manifestation to change your behavior. Let your change behavior usher in the manifestation. This is not wishful thinking. This is not denial of reality. This is creating a new reality by aligning with a higher reality. Now, as we move deeper into this principle, I want you to stay with me, because what I'm about to share next will give you the practical keys to applying this principle in every area of your life. The greatest barrier between you and your destiny is not external circumstances, it's not other people, it's not even lack of resources. The greatest barrier is the gap between what you know and what you do. Knowledge without application is merely information, but knowledge with application becomes transformation. Many of you have attended seminars, read books, listened to teachings, but your life hasn't changed. Why? Because you've become collectors of information rather than implementers of revelation. The principle of acting as if it's already yours demands implementation, and implementation begins with your thought life. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. Every thought you entertain is either moving you toward your destiny or away from it. There is no neutral thought. Every thought has consequences. Most people don't realize they're one thought away from completely changing their lives. One thought can shift your paradigm. One thought can open a door that changes everything. But here's what many don't understand about thoughts. They're not just passive visitors in your mind. You have authority over what thoughts you entertain and what thoughts you evict. When a thought of failure comes, you have the authority to say, no, that's not my thought. I don't receive that. When a thought of inadequacy knocks on your door, you have the authority to say, that thought doesn't align with my identity, it has no place in my mind. Your mind is not a hotel where any thought can check in and stay as long as it wants. Your mind is your private property, and you decide who gets to stay, so what thoughts should you be entertaining? Thoughts that align with who you really are and what's really yours, instead of thinking, I hope I can afford that someday. Think, how can I best steward that when it comes into my possession, instead of thinking, I hope they accept me. Thing, how can I add the most value when I step into that role, instead of thinking, I wish I could think, how should I prepare for when I do? Do you see the shift? It's subtle but profound. It's moving from hoping to possessing. It's acting as if it's already yours. Your words follow your thoughts. What you consistently think eventually comes out of your mouth, and what consistently comes out of your mouth eventually manifests in your life. Words are spiritual containers. They carry either life or death, blessing or cursing. When you speak words of lack, limitation, and impossibility, you're actually creating that reality. When you speak words of abundance, capacity, and possibility, you're creating that reality. Some of you have been speaking yourself out of your destiny. You've been declaring what you don't have, what you can't do, why it won't work, and life has simply been agreeing with you. What if you started speaking as if what's yours is already yours? What if instead of saying, I'm trying to get out of debt, you said, I'm a steward of abundance, and every financial decision I make moves me toward complete freedom? What if instead of saying, I hope to heal someday, you said, I'm walking in progressive healing every day? Your words are prophesying your future. Make sure they're prophesying the future you want, not the future you fear. After thoughts and words come actions. This is where many people falter. They think right thoughts, they may even speak right words, but their actions betray their lack of belief. If you truly believe that promotion is yours, how would you prepare today? If you truly believe that business will succeed, what would you be doing differently now? If you truly believe that relationship will be restored, how would you be positioning yourself? Action is faith made visible. It's not enough to think it. It's not enough to say it. You must do it. I remember meeting a man who desired to become a philanthropist. He had a vision of giving millions to causes that would transform communities, but at the time he barely had enough to meet his own needs. Most people would say, when I have millions, then I'll give. But this man understood the principle of acting as if it's already yours. While he had very little, he committed to giving a percentage of everything that came into his hands. When he found a quarter on the sidewalk, he gave a portion. When he got a small bonus at work, he gave a portion. He acted like a philanthropist long before he had philanthropic wealth today. His foundation gives away more in a month than he used to make in a year. Why? Because he understood that you don't become a giver. When you have more because you're already a giver. He acted as if it was already his. What area of your life needs this principle applied today? Is it your career, your health, your relationships, your ministry, your finances? Whatever it is, begin to think, speak, and act as if what you're believing for is already yours. This doesn't mean denying reality. It means operating from a higher reality. It means acknowledging your current circumstances while simultaneously acting from the reality of your future manifestation. It's holding two realities in tension, what is and what will be, and choosing to act from what will be rather than what is. As we continue, I'm going to show you how this principle applies specifically to the areas of purpose and assignment, because when you understand how to act as if it's already yours in these areas, everything else falls into place. Purpose is not something you discover. Purpose is something you recover. You don't find purpose. Purpose finds you when you align yourself with who you truly are. The tragedy of our time is that people spend their entire lives trying to become something they were never meant to be. They're chasing dreams that don't belong to them. They're pursuing purposes that were never assigned to them. and in that pursuit they miss the very thing they were created to do. Why do you think you're drawn to certain activities? Why do certain causes stir your passion? Why do certain injustices provoke your anger? These are not random emotions, these are clues to your purpose. These are signposts pointing to your assignment. Your purpose is not separate from your being. Your purpose is intrinsic to your being. You don't have a purpose. You are a purpose expressed as a person. Let me say that again. You don't have a purpose. You are a purpose expressed as a person. When you understand this truth, you stop asking, "What is my purpose?" and start declaring, "I am walking in my purpose." You stop begging for assignment and start executing the assignment that's already written in your spiritual DNA. This is acting as if it's already yours in the realm of purpose. Many are waiting for some mystical revelation of purpose. They're waiting for someone to lay hands on them and commission them. They're waiting for a door to miraculously open. But all the while their purpose has been waiting for them to simply step into it. Your purpose doesn't need permission to manifest. Your purpose needs your participation to manifest. What breaks your heart? What problem can you not ignore? What solution can you not stop thinking about? In your answers to these questions lies your purpose. And once you identify that purpose, you must act as if the fulfillment of that purpose is already yours. You must think like someone who is already walking in the fullness of their assignment. You must speak as someone who is already making the impact they were born to make. You must act with the authority of someone who knows why they're here. Don't wait for the platform to start speaking. Don't wait for the organization to start serving. Don't wait for the credential to start solving. Start where you are with what you have, acting as if the fulfillment of your purpose is already yours. Remember this: the size of your beginning has nothing to do with the magnitude of your impact. What matters is not how you start, but that you start acting as if your purpose is already being fulfilled through you. Some of the greatest movements in history began with one person acting as if they already possess the influence to change a system, heal a community, or transform a nation. When you act as if your purpose is already being fulfilled through you, something supernatural happens. Resources you didn't know existed suddenly become available to you. People you never expected to meet suddenly cross your path. Doors you didn't even know were there suddenly open before you. Why? Because when you align with your true purpose and act from that alignment, you tap into a flow that's bigger than yourself. You connect with a current that's been waiting to carry you. This is not mystical thinking. This is kingdom economics. When purpose meets preparation and action, provision is released. Let me ask you something. What would you do differently today if you knew without a doubt that your purpose was guaranteed to be fulfilled? How would you carry yourself? What bold moves would you make? What fears would you confront? Whatever your answers, start doing those things now. Start being that person now. Start making those moves now. Start confronting those fears now. Act as if the fulfillment of your purpose is already yours. Some of you are thinking, but what if I fail? Let me reframe that for you. In the pursuit of purpose, there is no failure. There are only lessons. Every seeming setback is simply feedback that refines your approach. Every closed door is merely redirection to a better door. When you're walking in alignment with your true purpose, even the detours serve the destination, even the delays serve the timing, even the denials serve the preparation. So embrace every part of the journey, knowing that as you act in alignment with your purpose, every experience is working together for the fulfillment of that purpose. Now let's go deeper into how acting as if it's already yours affects your relationships with others and your impact on the world around you. Your relationships are not accidental. The people in your life right now are there by divine design. Some are there to help you grow. Some are there for you to help them grow. Some are there to challenge you. Some are there to comfort you, but none are there by accident. How you see people determines how you treat them, and how you treat them determines what you can receive from them and what they can receive from you. Many people relate to others based on who they are right now, but when you understand the principle of acting as if it's already yours. You begin to relate to people based on who they're becoming, not just who they are. You see past their current limitations to their future manifestations. You speak to their potential, not just their performance. You interact with the person they're destined to be, not just the person they currently present themselves to be. This is how true leadership functions. Leadership is not about manipulating people to serve your vision. Leadership is about cultivating environments where people can discover and fulfill their own purpose while contributing to a shared vision. When you act as if people already possess their full potential, something miraculous happens. They begin to rise to your expectations. They begin to see in themselves what you see in them. They begin to act as if they already are who you believe they can become. I've seen this principle transform organizations, communities, and families. When parents see greatness in their children and treat them accordingly, those children begin to manifest that greatness. When teachers see genius in their students and teach them accordingly, those students begin to perform at genius level. When leaders see capacity in their teams and delegate accordingly, those teams begin to operate at levels of excellence they never thought possible. Why? Because how you perceive someone either restricts them to their past or releases them into their future. But here's the warning: this isn't about imposing your vision on others. It's about discerning the divine design in others and calling it forth. It's about seeing people not just as they are, but as they were created to be. The same principle applies to your impact on the world. Many are waiting until they have a certain position, platform, or provision before they start making an impact. But impact doesn't start with position. Impact starts with perception, specifically how you perceive your own value and the value of what you carry. You already possess everything you need to start transforming your sphere of influence. You don't need more resources, you need more resourcefulness. You don't need more platform, you need more purpose. You don't need more connections, you need more conviction. When you act as if your impact is already manifesting, you start serving with excellence right where you are. You start solving problems no one asked you to solve. You start meeting needs no one assigned you to meet. You start creating value no one is paying you to create. And here's what happens: your excellence eventually creates demand for your presence. Your problem solving eventually creates opportunities for your advancement. Your value creation eventually creates platforms for your message. This is how influence grows organically, not by chasing position, but by delivering impact, not by demanding acknowledgement, but by deploying your gifts, not by seeking validation, but by solving problems. So stop waiting for someone to discover you and start uncovering what's already inside you. Stop waiting for someone to endorse you and start endorsing the truth with your life. Stop waiting for someone to position you and start posturing yourself for purpose. Act as if your impact is already being felt. Serve as if lives are already being changed through you. Give as if communities are already being transformed through your contribution. Because when you act from this place of confidence in your calling, something shifts in the atmosphere around you. People feel it, organizations recognize it, opportunities respond to it. So as we move toward our conclusion, I want to challenge you with the most important application of this principle. The ultimate application of this principle is not about material possessions, career advancement, or even purpose fulfillment. The ultimate application is about identity. Most people spend their lives trying to become something, but the deepest truth is that you don't need to become anything. You need to embrace who you already are. Your true identity is not something you achieve, it's something